Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you how you can create a dashboard in Google Sheets to help track your stocks and stay on top of your investments to see how they're doing. I'm going to use the Magnificent 7 stocks as examples here, and I'm going to start by just putting all their ticker symbols in column A. So I'm going to create a field called stock ticker, and I'm going to type in Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. And with Google Sheets, it's really easy to pull in their current stock prices. That's with the help of the Google Finance function. So I can just reference the ticker, and even if I don't enter anything else, it'll pull in the latest stock price. So a really easy way to enter that, pull in that information. It's fairly up to date. So if you're in your spreadsheet over the course of the day, you'll see these stock prices automatically update. Next, what I'm going to also pull in is the PE ratio. So one of the examples of some of the cool things the Google Finance can pull in, the Google Finance function can pull in, is the PE ratio. And that uses the same formula. The only difference is for the attribute, I'm typing in PE. So before for the price, I just left it blank. But if I type in PE, it's going to pull in the PE ratio. And I'm going to copy this down. And so really easy to pull in all that data. Next, I'm going to pull in the percent change. Yet another field that I can access through this Google Finance function. And so instead of PE, I'm going to type in change PCT for percent, change percentage. And so now we've got that. Now the one thing this shows, it is as if it's almost a dollar amount. So what I'm going to do is divide this by 100, just so it's easy to format this as a percentage. And now I can see that Apple stock was up 3.65% today. Copy this down, and I've got my percent changes for the day. Next, what I can also do is pull in the 52-week high. And this again can be pulled in using the Google Finance function. And so I'm going to copy this formula, and then I'm just going to type in high 52. And I've got that in there. This will be a dollar format. And same thing for the 52-week low. I can copy that same formula, except this time instead of high 52, I'm going to call it low 52. And so you can see it's really easy to pull in a lot of information just by using that Google Finance function. Now let's suppose we've invested in these stocks. So I'm going to put in hypothetical amounts here for the shares owned and the average cost. So let's just keep it simple and say we've invested we own 10 shares of each one of these stocks. And for the average cost, I'm going to go slightly to around where they are right now. So let's say Apple, I'll say $200, Amazon $200, Google, let's say $150, Meta $600, Microsoft $450, Nvidia $100, Tesla $350. So I've got those average costs, and these are really the main fields that you would just need to update as you update your or change your positions, is the shares owned and the average cost. And for the investment value, I'm just going to keep this as the value that I've invested in these stocks. So just taking the shares owned, multiply it by the average cost. Copy that down so I can see the value of my of what I've invested. Or maybe I should call this actually invested value just to make it clear. Invested value. And now my current value, so this is going to be the number of shares I owned multiplied by the current price. So this will tell me what they're worth today. Again, copy that down. And just like that, now I've got my invested value, my current value. So naturally, the next thing is the gain or loss. And this is just the difference between the current value less the invested value. So that'll show you where I've made a profit or loss on these investments. So Microsoft's the only one that I had a loss at, but $450, it's trading at $447. So just a minor loss there. So I've got my gain or losses, and I can also calculate a return. So I'm going to take that gain or loss, divide it by my invested value, and now I've got my percentage. Convert that into a percentage. And now we can easily see where we've made our biggest returns with Google at 31%. And now what I can also do is calculate the weight of my portfolio. So let's say close portfolio weight, And this will be a really simple calculation. We're just taking the current value divided by the sum of everything in column J. And so that's going to give me the weight. And this should not be in dollar signs. This should be a percentage. And copy this all the way down. And this will add up to 100%. So just like that, we've got a whole bunch of fields now in here that we've set up. And the really cool thing about Google Sheets, they've recently set up the functionality to convert this into a table. So if I go to Format, Convert to Table, not only is the formatting a bit cleaner and nicer, but let's say if we wanted to add another investment into another stock, let's say we add Broadcom here, we can put in the shares owned, put in our average cost, let's say 200, and everything else is going to automatically update. So it's a really easy way to track your investments and add to them as well. So if you make any changes, you don't have to worry about copying any formulas or making any adjustments there. Because it's in a table format, it's automatically going to add those formulas. And all you have to do is really just add another value here so that Google Sheets knows that you want to expand your table, and all the formulas that come with it are automatically going to be copied down. Now that we've got a table set up, let's add some charts to help visualize our portfolio's returns and how our stocks are doing. So I'm going to click anywhere on this table, go to Insert, select Chart, and for some reason Google Sheets is not picking up my data range correctly. So I'm just going to adjust it here to make sure it goes all the way to M9. So I'm going to go from A1 to M9. And now we've got our fields here. So I can easily pick which fields I want to create for my chart. And it's really easy to line it up with your table to make sure that there's no gaps here. So I'm going to remove the PE ratio. What I want to actually track is the change. So today's current change, I'm going to use percent change. There we go. And rather than relying on these values, what I'm going to do is add some labels here. So I'm going to click on these values, add data labels, and perhaps just change the default color just so it's a little bit different than the default. And there's no way I can't actually delete this. Can't delete it, but next best thing I can do is change the text color to white so it disappears. So now we've just got our percent changes here. And so I can just rename this and let's say call this today's change. Center this, bold it, change it to dark text. And so we've got our first chart where we've got our change value. And if we don't want to see this as well, the stock ticker, obviously this goes without saying, those are ticker symbols. Delete that. So now we can have an easy at a glance to see, which stocks did the best. Obviously you can look through it on the table, but a visualization helps make that incredibly obvious which stocks did the best versus which ones maybe didn't do so well today. What I'm going to do is create another chart, and this time I'm going to copy this chart that I've already created, paste it over here, so that way I don't have to worry about remapping the table to make sure that the range is correct. I'm going to click on these dots, edit chart, and this time I'm going to use a pie chart for my portfolio weight. So naturally it makes sense for this to be a pie chart, and we can customize this as well if we wanted to. We could make this a 3D chart if we wanted to, just to make it look a little different. And again, let's modify that title, center it, bold, darken it, and there we go. So that's also lined up. So really easy. It's really easy in Google Sheets to make your charts line up because they all snap together. So you don't have to worry about messing around, spending too much time in worrying about aligning them. So I'm going to copy this chart once more and create a third one over here. And this time I'm going to look at the actual returns. So I'm going to edit the chart. And this time what I want to do is use a combination chart. So a line and column chart. And so here I've got my stock tickers. And what I want to do here, I don't want the portfolio weight. I'll move this over. It's a bit clearer here. I'm going to add, and so again, it did not. So I still have to adjust the range here. So this is just the one thing that you may need to adjust with Google Sheets. But once you've got it set up correctly, you'll see all your fields there. So what I'm going to do here is pull in my gains or losses as well as my actual return in percentages. So right now this doesn't look like a combination chart, but I'm going to fix that in a second. I'm going to remove this stock ticker here. and remove this label here because I've got my gains or losses and I've got my returns. And if I go to the series section here, I can select my return and use this as a line, and I want to use the right axis. So that way it's not on the same axis, and that's why that was looking flat. And so what I can also do is change the point size. Let's say I want these points fairly large so it's easy to see them. Perhaps use a dash just to make the chart look a little bit different. And of course we can adjust these columns by clicking on them and then changing the fill color. Let's say dark gray, black outline, just to help them pop a little bit so it doesn't look like it's just the default option, the default blue that comes with Google Sheets by default here. So now we've got 3 charts in here, and shouldn't say portfolio weight, this should say portfolio returns. And it's always good just to make sure your data matches up. So we've got Meta Platforms being our highest return, our highest gain at about 740 looks correct. Microsoft our only loss. So we have our gains or losses and our returns all in one chart. Lastly, let's also create a card to show us what matters most, is obviously what the total value of our portfolio is versus what we've invested to see what our performance is. So off to the side here, I'm going to create some totals for the portfolio value and also for the total invested. And this is just going to be a simple summation. For the portfolio value, I'm going to pull in column J. And then for the total invested, sum of column I. And format these as $signs. And so now I'm going to select these values, go to Insert, Chart again, and there is an option down here for a scorecard. It says total here. And so as you can see, now we have the total of our investment versus how much we're up by. So you can see that we're up by about $2,800 based on our performance thus far. So just adjust this down. And so now at this point, we've got our chart. So right now these panes are frozen. So I'm just going to go to the View tab, make sure that nothing's frozen here. So no rows are frozen. There we go. So now I can move this around freely. And at this point, I just want to adjust this to make sure that everything all fits in one area. So what I'm going to do is shrink some of these columns by making them a bit smaller here. Bit smaller in size. Same with these headers. And so at this point, it's just a matter of how you want your charts to look and fit on your Google Sheets spreadsheet. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.